that you are well and life is good and easy. Don't have a ton of questions today, but we do have some. Let me jump over to the Facebook page and we will get started. So first up, again, we've got 9 years, which is just astonishing. I'm not sure how that happened. That drruthroberts.com has been in business. And we are running a contest this month to ask you to help us know what it is we did right to help you. So if you can contest, and there's some pretty clear instructions here. Our first prize will be a free optimal health pet consultation. Second prize is the hair mineral analysis test, and an omega-3 index test is the third prize. So what we're asking you to do is send in videos of yourself and your pet, and also to like and follow our Facebook page if you haven't, Instagram, and share the joy. Mention or tag at least 3 fur parents and use these hashtags, and then you can send those entries over email I should say, and then we will be announcing the winners on May 14th in celebration of National Dog Moms Day. So check this out. If you've got questions, please feel free to send those over via email or in the group. We'll get it taken care of for you. Ari, you are very welcome, and we had a great consultation the other day. I'm hoping that life is good and things are calming down for you. And May is cooking 2 batches. So the deal with this is to test the pork. If it works out fine with the veggies that work well with the bison, then that means that the 2 veggies that you were using with the pork are not good together. So if the pork works out fine with this, then you could try some other veggies. Or I think they were cabbage and green beans. You could try, say, green beans and kale or Napa cabbage or another brassica that you're not using, and vice versa, and try that with the pork. Or if you are finding that doesn't work, then you can switch it over. And Susan, good to see you. Hope you're well. I know you've got a question about upset stomach. So what does that mean exactly? Does that mean vomiting, diarrhea, just not feeling good? May's suggestion of Digize is great. That stuff actually works really well for indigestion and nausea. So while you're answering that, I'm going to roll up here. And Carinthusia is what we generally recommend. So here is the link to Thusia in the store. We started stocking that because it's just hard to find it. So I'll drop this in the comments, but that's where you can find it. I think that's a pretty easy to use. Good to see you, Astrid. Thanks for the blessings. Gosh knows we can all use them. And then Susan, while you're typing in what you mean by upset tummy, let me pop back over to the Facebook page. And so May, about the kelp, yes, 1 scoop is 450 micrograms of iodine and 90 milligrams of kelp. So yes, per batch you would use 1 scoop. And prior to that, the spoon of kelp, or quarter of a teaspoon. Yeah. Anyway, so I finally found a product. So the issue is that with kelp and seaweed products, the amount of iodine varies by species, and so general kelp like wakame or something of this nature has a lower content of iodine than the species of kelp that now is using. So the rule of thumb is 450 micrograms per batch of food. So if you're doing a triple batch, that would be 3 times that, or 3 scoops. So 1 scoop per batch, 3 scoops per 3 batches. So I hope that helps. And Ari, again, welcome to the group. Let's see, Astrid's Gypsy vet suggested the coughing is due to chronic bronchitis. And there's a couple of things you can do. So one is not natural so much, but it is effective, and that is Guaifenesin. So it is the active ingredient in Robitussin DM. What it does, and it's usually in most of the over-the-counter products, it is available with dextromethorphan. So let me pop over to this so you can see this. Sorry, and this is in Spanish because I'm still in Mexico. But you want to look for just a plain Guaifenesin product. And you can get this in tablets because I always found the syrups taste icky. But for small pets, this may be what you need to do. Dextromethorphan can be used, but it is a cough suppressant. And really, for what you're attempting to do, which is to the secretions, the bronchial secretions, it is not helpful. So, suppressing the cough is not going to help move things out. The other things you can do is to increase water consumption to help thin the mucus and to avoid things that create mucus rather. So things like dairy. And there's another one you could look at, which I'm sorry is escaping my brain at the moment. And I'm so sorry, I can't get it. You can also look at using elderberry, which can provide bronchial support. And the other thing is Young Living has a respiratory support essential oil that was like crazy good for breaking up mucus and relieving congestion. Now, the other thing you can use as well is quercetin, because in many cases, chronic allergies can contribute to chronic irritation within the respiratory tract, and so the same dosing that we would use it for kidney disease would be appropriate. And then lastly, high doses of omega-3 fatty acids, because again, part of what creates the mucus with chronic bronchitis is chronic inflammation. So I hope that is helpful. So the other big news is that finally we have holistic total body support coming back in stock. It should be back the first week in May, the second week in May at the latest. So we'll be sending out some information about how to pre-order with a pretty substantial discount. So, but for those of you that have pets with food sensitivities, we are putting all of the other products that we needed to balance the diet on sale at 30% off. So for those of you that are interested, just click on those. It'll take you right over. And I think that is it in here. We go back over to here. Yes, and with the Guaifenesin dose, yes, it's going to be and I'm sorry, how much did Gypsy weigh? Because a 100-milligram tablet of Guaifenesin. And so that's going to be enough for a 50-pound dog. So for 25-pound dog, half of that; for smaller, a quarter tablet. And you can give that every 8 to 12 hours, depending on the need and but I could feel the Guaifenesin starting to wear off about, oh golly, probably about or 7 hours into the dose. So just kind of keep an eye on that. So if she's 80 pounds, I would definitely go with probably 300 milligrams 3 times a day. And then Susan. Nausea, don't want to eat. Yeah, sorry, the internet's kind of fading back and out. So for 80 pounds, or you would want to give about 300 milligrams. So about 300 milligrams of Guaifenesin up to 3 times a day. And then Susan, um, what do you mean exactly by stomach upset or sensitive stomach? You are welcome, Astrid. My pleasure. If you're talking about, I just don't feel good, honestly, sometimes not eating is a good thing. So it's fascinating. I've been doing quite a bit of research on intermittent fasting, and there's a lot of discussion about that in dogs, and I think that's something that we need to talk a bit more about. So it turns out in humans, and humans are mammals, so maybe it's dogs as well. We actually can improve our gut function and reduce dysbiosis and improve the presence of the good guys in the microbiome. Um, and along with many other things. So for dogs that just don't feel good, maybe don't feed them and let their tummies just rest for 12 to 24 hours. We all seem to have more than enough extra to go around for a bit of time. Now, Carter had asked about Benadryl, which is not diphenhydramine in the UK, is acrovastine. And they do that because it's supposed to be less sedating for people. But that's not a good choice for dogs. And so Cartara did some research because the goal with this was to block histamine receptors without necessarily having to use omeprazole or the other acid reducers. And the information I came up with is that, frankly, you're better off using omeprazole because Benadryl, while it does not directly, and the other antihistamines don't directly impact kidney function, what they do is create more dryness, which will indirectly impact the kidneys. So this is where it gets a bit sticky. So if there is ongoing nausea issues, days where Rocky doesn't want to eat, things of that nature, then this is probably when using omeprazole on a daily basis would be a good idea. And in fact, I think you are already using that. And then if not, you could use it like a one day on, one day off schedule and see if that doesn't do the trick. Let's see, Debbie was asking about the Icelandic fish oil. So a pump per day, and Daisy seems to be gaining weight, and she's wondering if it's due to the fish oil or the food. But she's gone from 10 pounds up to 2.6. And Debbie, this would be where I would add in or get thyroid function checked. So doxies are unfortunately notorious with having hypothyroidism, and so you've got a couple of options. One is to check thyroid function with a blood test, which I would suggest because she's in that age where things can start happening, and then give thyroid supplementation if she is indeed hypothyroid. If she is not hypothyroid, but you're seeing things along with the weight gain, like lethargy, slowing her hair coat's thinning out a little bit, she just doesn't have that same energy, the coat looks a little drier, then that's when I would consider using Standard Process's thyroid support because that will help support the thyroid gland and thyroid function by providing raw materials to the gland so that it can do all of the things it needs to do. So I hope that's helpful. And then let's see, Karen, I got that, and I got that one for May. And I think we're pretty well covered. Soon, I'm going to go of an upset stomach, meaning I just don't feel good and I don't want to eat. So step one, don't feed her. Step two is use something like slippery elm or diglycerized licorice, um, aloe, things of that nature to kind of coat the stomach a little bit and cool things down a bit. If you know that your pup ate something funky and maybe there's a little GI reaction going on, you could give some activated charcoal. So you could give, for small dogs, like a half of a capsule. So small meaning less than 25 pounds, up to 50 pounds, a whole capsule, and then 80 pounds, 75 pounds. So roughly every 25 pounds, add about 25 milligrams of, or half of a capsule of charcoal to see if that helps kind of absorb any yucky stuff. And I don't like to use sort of antacids, which will relieve the symptoms, but also disguise a greater problem until we know what the problem is. Or so I hope that helps. And I think that's all the questions I've got today. So thank you all so much for joining today. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll get more questions answered for you. Check out the contest to help us celebrate our 9th anniversary. And we'll see you next week. Until then, give everybody a big hug and a kiss for me.